come to Irondale today. I'm testing out a new fly. It's got pine-squirrel tail supported by a little bit of white bucktail, and the body's constructed kind of like a woolly bugger, so it's got an olive dubbing body with some grizzly saddle hackle palmered through it, and there's a bigger hackle at the front which is divided like petrel fins, and it's got a cone head on it, so it's like a kind of a squirrel sculpin. I'll probably call it the Squilpin, so I'm going to give that a try. Okay, got a fish on. Oh, and off again. Oh well, proof of concept in the fly. And that's what it looks like when it's wet. Oh, that's something. Hey. Off like a shot. Caught on my little squilpin. This is a strong one. Come on, bud. Oh. Gotcha. There. Just going to measure that against my rod. Yeah, it was a 13-incher. Oh, great take. What a bite. Oh, damn it. Fish on. Oh, yeah. Come on. Oh. That's another healthy looking sea run. Look out. There, that is just a lovely fish. And it's about 14 inches. Oh, that's a good fish. Oh. Whoa. Come on. Oh, didn't like the look of the net there. Got him. Oh boy. That is a lovely fish. Look out. Just let that one recover a while. Okay. And that's a 16-inch fish. 16-inch fish. Fantastic. On my Squilpin. This is a strong fish, man. Wow. Come on, dude. Yeah. Oh my lord, look at that one. And another. Oh, just off. Okay folks, excuse the dark glasses, but it is very sunny here. Well, my session has come to an end. I fished for about 3.5 hours. I caught 5, possibly 6 sea runs. I've honestly lost count, and I know I lost at least 4. So it was a terrific session. The quality of those fish was definitely a little bit better than what I've been getting lately. And best of all, first outing for that little sculpin fly, I was delighted by how it performed, particularly in tough conditions like very sunny and bright and almost windless conditions we have today. So what I will do is I'll take you home and we'll go to the vise and I'll show you exactly how I tied that fly. So I'll see you later. Here in the vise I've got the fly you just saw me fishing with. I'm calling it the Squilpin for want of a better name. Now there's nothing particularly novel about it. It draws a little from the pine-squirrel leech, the slump buster and the woolly bugger. It looks to me a bit like a sculpin or a gunnel, but equally it could represent any number of different food items. I think this divided hackle at the front is suggestive of pectoral fins, and the fly definitely fishes much better with those. This one is tied with sculpin olive, but it also works great with natural pine squirrel. So it's easy to cast, it doesn't foul the hook too often, and it just plain catches fish. So let's get started on it. So the hook I'm using is the Ahrex SA220 saltwater streamer in size 8. This hook has a shorter shank than your typical streamer, and it's nice and heavy. And on the hook I'm going to mount a brass cone head in black nickel. These are the small size, which I think is 3/16 of an inch. So I've already pinched down the barb on this hook. Get that in the vise. Now the cone head itself doesn't add much weight, and I do want this to fish down in the water column, so I'm going to add a bit more weight in the form of some 0.15 inch lead-free wire. And I'm going to put on 14 wraps. And the wire's also going to help to keep the cone centered and in place, because I'm going to scooch the wire right up into the cone. I have some 70 denier UTC thread in olive, and I'm going to start that thread right behind the wire. Cut away the excess, and my aim is to build up just a little bit of a thread dam behind the wire to keep it from moving. Now I'll take a few open spiral wraps over the wire and then some normal wraps. Oh, and you see I've dislodged a coil there. Not to worry, I'll be covering that up. Just pretend it didn't happen. Now I'm going to add a tail of white bucktail. This particular bucktail has unusually straight hair, and it's ideal for this fly. I've picked out and cleaned a small clump, enough to make a reasonably stiff undertail. I want this to extend about 1.5 hook lengths at the back. And I'm going to take my measurement from the end of that wire, and I'll trim it there. And I'll tie that in like so. Now my favourite pine squirrel strips are these ones from Nature's Spirit, which are 1/10 of an inch wide, and this natural colour is excellent. The other alternative is the product from Wapsi, and these are a little bit wider, I think, at about 1/8 of an inch, but they work just fine. Although I found that they may not be as nicely cut as Nature's Spirit ones. I'm going to use one of the Sculpin olive ones, and I've got the hair. I want that hair to extend to the end of the bucktail. In the front, just extend beyond the hook eye. Now I'm creating a little space at the tie-in point where my thread's hanging, and moistening the fur a little bit helps with this. So I'll tie that down with a few very tight thread wraps. Now I'll fold the front half of the strip back and make some more wraps right in front of it. My rib is olive wire in size small, and I'm going to tie a piece of that in along my side from right behind that wire, lead-free wire. Just clip that out of the way. And the body is dubbed from ice dub in the olive brown color. I really like this particular color blend, and this is actually going to be the only source of flash in the fly. I'm going to dub directly onto my thread, making a fairly compact noodle. Now once I've got that dubbing started, I'll just tighten up to that point. And I'm going to proceed to make an even body shape. I'm not trying to make a taper here. That's enough. I'll just clean that up. So I'm taking care to leave just a small gap behind the cone with no dubbing on it. Over the dubbing I'm going to palmer a grizzly saddle hackle in a natural grey. And I've selected a feather here that has barbs that are about the size of the hook gap. Like that. I'm going to tie this in by the stem. Just fold the stem back to lock it in. Remove that. Now I'm going to take one complete turn at the front of the body and then palmer it back towards the tail. And coming into my fifth turn, I'll bring up my wire, trap the feather, and then keeping the wire really tight, I'll rib the body with 5 or 6 turns. I'll tie off the wire. Remove that excess hackle. And then keeping the thread tight, just twist and break off the wire. So now we've got something that's suggestive of a fat little sculpin body. And to make the pectoral fins, I'm using an India hen neck in a mottled brown colour. I think I bought this one as Prince Nymph Brown. And I've already picked out a feather with barbs about 1.5 hook gaps long. I've isolated the tip there, and I'm going to trim that to form a tie-in point. I'm going to make sure that's really well tied in. Now I'm going to use up the entire feather and just brush the fibers back as I wrap it. Trying to get one turn in front of another, but there's not much room behind this cone. follow that up with my thread. Then snip off the stem like so. Now I'm going to grab the hackle and pull out and down to form fins, one on each side. This doesn't have to be perfect, it's just to give an impression. And that's kind of how it should look. So you can encourage this by making some crisscross thread wraps through the hackle from each side, just to bind those fibers down into place. Now take your squirrel strip and pull it really tightly over the body. And at the point where the strip meets the edge of the cone, you want to try and pluck out a little bit of the fur to make a bare spot. Keeping it moist again, it just helps. Okay, so now bind the hide down, and you'll find you should be able to draw it down inside the space in the cone, like that. Now you can remove the excess. There's a little hair I missed there. I'll take that off. So now just tidy up and apply a whip finish. You could put a tiny drop more dubbing in there if you've got too much of a gap behind the cone, but this one looks fine. And if you like, you could apply some resin or head cement, but I don't usually bother, and you know, I've yet to have one of these come undone. So I'm just going to remove my thread and call it good. So that's the squilpin. So please let me know in the comments if you should give it a try. And I do hope you've enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you very much for watching.